Let's talk about the world building in To Wear a Crown. Hey guys, I'm Marlene and welcome back to my channel. So my debut novel, a political fantasy adventure for adults, is releasing this Wednesday, the 25th of May, and I am beyond excited. I'm so excited for this. I've been waiting to be a published author my entire life, and I finally get to share this story for you that I worked on for 7 years. And yeah, I'm in love with this story and with these characters, and I'm super excited to be sharing that with you. To Wear a Crown is now available for pre-order at all major online retailers, and you can also enter the pre-order giveaway in the link in the description box below. And as soon as you enter, you will receive the first 3 chapters of To Wear a Crown straight to your inbox, and you also stand a chance to win one of 3 grand prizes consisting of a signed paperback copy of To Wear a Crown, a character art print, and one of 3 To Wear a Crown bookmarks, and that's what the back of the bookmark looks like. So yeah, please pre-order and enter the pre-order giveaway. I'm super excited to also share these things with you. I designed these bookmarks myself, and this character art by Foxtail Fan Art is just stunning. So I'm so excited. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into the world building of To Wear a Crown. I think that this is one of the most fun parts of the book, and the most intriguing aspects is the world building, and I got a lot of great compliments about the world building, and so I'm very excited to share that. So first, let's look at the locations. So To Wear a Crown takes place in the People's Monarchy of Aldahad, which is one of the countries in the world that I created, but we do not really explore the other countries in this book. However, there might be a series forthcoming in the future where more of it is explored. So the main location within Aldahad is Yaekós, which is the capital city of Aldahad, and it is a city that is extremely divided into different classes. So firstly, you have Goldvinger Crest on the eastern side of the city, which is where all the nobles and the very rich people live. And it used to be called Havinger Crest after Lowena Havinger, who was the freedom fighter, which we'll get into a little later in this video. But the streets are literally made of bronze, and so when the sun hits it, it becomes gold, and that's why it was kind of redubbed Goldvinger Crest, but most people just call it the Crest. Then in the middle of the city you have Coinsgain Plateau, where the kind of middle class lives. I kind of see them as the bourgeoisie in the French Revolution era, and so they wear very gaudy clothing, trying to kind of display their wealth, and they want to go to all of these nobility events, but they're not really accepted there. And so it's an interesting thing where they are, you know, educated, wealthy people, but they're not accepted into high society because they are not of noble lineage. And then in the western side of the city you have the Western Rooks, which is basically the slums where the working class, lower class people live. And as you can tell, class is a very big aspect of life in Aldahad, and it is also the center of the conflict in To Wear a Crown. So the Western Rooks, gravel streets, basically shacks. It's what we would in South Africa call a township. I think in the rest of the world called slums. And yeah, the people there, it's an unsafe area and an area stricken by poverty. Yeah, that's what a lot of the conflict in this book is about. And so the city has on its southern side the Rockalee River, which is a very wide river that runs through a big part of Aldahad. And across from the river, you have the Roak jungle. And so the climate and flora and fauna in Aldahad is very much a South American rainforest type of vibe. So they have that kind of climate as well, where it's this suffocating humid heat most of the time. And they also actually have a lot of coffee farms, but they call it kupa, so kupa beans. So that jungle, kind of not tropical, rainforest jungle vibe is just outside of Yaekós as well. And then to the eastern side, just behind Goldfinger Crest, but a little farther from the city, is the Aesher gold mines, which Markham's father owns and operates, and that's kind of his own little kingdom where he has the authority and not the High Ruler. Then another big location in the book is Avetown, and Avetown is where Staella is originally from. It's a small, rural, very conservative town, and her family has a Cooper bean farm, and she, at the beginning of the book, lives on this farm. And then they also go to the Hare Caves, which is up in the mountains. Just there's also a mountain range outside of Yaekós, the Krizin Mountains, but this is not in that this is a bit more south. They go to the Hare Caves. I can't tell you for what, because that would be a spoiler, but the Hare Caves, essentially at the beginning when you go in, it looks really small and damp, and you have like these tunnels that you have to crawl through, but then when you get through, you get this giant kind of cavern with a pool inside and stuff, and that becomes an important location in the books, in the book. And then the Aesher gold mines also becomes a big location. So in terms of politics and history, which is really where it's quite complex and it has a lot of nuances, but I won't bore you with all of the tedious details. So they essentially have... Okay, let me start with the history. So they had kings and queens, a normal monarchy with dictators and tyrants, and the line that was on the throne latest was the Salingses, and it was horrible rule. Essentially, you had these tyrants just doing whatever they wanted, and nobility who sucked up to them getting whatever they wanted, and the rest of the people essentially suffering. And so one woman, a young woman from the slums of the capital city, Lowena Havinger, rose up, created an incredibly powerful rebellion movement, and eventually unseated the Salingses from the throne. And that is when the People's Monarchy of Aldahad was created. There is secrecy and hidden things about why the monarchy was created and what was supposed to happen after that, which I won't get into because, once again, spoilers. But and so Lowena became the first High Ruler of the People's Monarchy of Aldahad, and her family became this big part of the world, the most famous, most powerful family in Aldahad, and they even measure their time on before Havinger and after Havinger. And so how their politics run now is they still have a monarch, so he still has complete power up to a point. So they have a document which is their constitution, which is called a core, and the monarch can never change the core. But other than that, they can kind of do what they want. But a monarch only reigns for 10 years, and they are elected. So every 10 years, there's this election, and only members of families that can trace their noble lineage back 17 generations and who are between the ages of 19 and 30 can be candidates in the election. And so it's basically this pageant of rich kids to see who will become the next High Ruler. Everyone can vote, but not everyone can run. And that is what the rebellion in this book is standing against, is the fact that they cannot vote for one of their own people. And there's extreme classism in this book, and the lower classes are really, really suffering, but they cannot elect someone who really knows what that is and will be able to do something about it, because they're not allowed to run in the election. And that's essentially what a big part of the conflict of this book is about. So we have the High Ruler. In the election, the person who receives the second most votes will become the Lord of the People, and the Lord of the People is essentially the one who needs to bring the concerns of the people to the High Ruler. You also have the Lord of the Goddess, and we'll get into the Goddess and their religion and everything now. But the Lord of the Goddess is chosen by the Goddess, although Markham has some thoughts about whether she is actually chosen by the Goddess or not. And the church in this world doesn't really have any power aside from who becomes Lord of the Goddess. So there's also then Lord of Security, who is appointed by the High Ruler, and that in this era is Saul Noxon. They have also a High Companion, which is the spouse to the High Ruler. So then in terms of religion, they worship a single goddess in Aldahad. There's a temple for her in Yaekós. There are 12 priests, and they each represent an aspect of the goddess. So it would be like the mother maiden crone idea, but there are 12 aspects of her. And this isn't in To Wear a Crown because I have an idea of making it its own series of books, but essentially there used to be magic and magical creatures in the world of To Wear a Crown, in all of the different areas, not just in Aldahad. The people in the era where To Wear a Crown is set don't really know this. There's this myth, this kind of children's story of, there used to be magic and magical creatures, but it's not a part of their history and something that is widely accepted. But magic was really being abused in this world by the few people who had a lot of magic. And so this young woman came and essentially absorbed a lot of these evil dictators' power in herself, and as she got more and more powerful, she became the goddess. And when she ascended to the heavens, she left a drop of magic in one line, her lover's line. That's the Keneals, and you'll see Daniel Keneal and how that affects him in To Wear a Crown. And the rest of the magic she puts into a single tree, and that is the Hailtail trees in this book, which have red blossoms, and which is why we have the red flowers on the cover. And all of the magic was in this one tree, but obviously as the tree spread and more trees grew, that magic became spread out through all of them. So there's still a little bit of magic in all of the Hailtail trees, and that's important in To Wear a Crown. And also the other thing is that these Hailtail flowers only bloom, or they always bloom, but the blossoms close when the moon is full. So yeah, there's probably a lot more that I can say about the world, all of the different cuisines and the building styles and what they wear and all of that. But I think that this is the major points and what really makes the book what it is. And this does come through, obviously not the history as much, but this does come through in To Wear a Crown. And so I'm super excited for you guys to read that and really see how this strange political system and way of living influences the people in this book and leads to the main story and conflict in To Wear a Crown. So yeah, that's it for this world building video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm once again so excited. I feel like I just keep saying I'm so excited, but I am. It's for you guys to be able to read this book and to experience these characters in this world and everything with me. I've been working on it for 7 years and finally I can share it. So yeah, remember to pre-order To Wear a Crown and enter the pre-order giveaway at the link in the description box below. And then I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.